Let me extend a warm welcome to you to this Chetna series of lectures. As you know, UGC has been conducting these Chetna series of lectures for quite some time now. These lectures are also live streamed on all the social media platforms of UGC. As part of these lectures, we invite experts from different domains to come and speak to national institutions. Today, we have planned to speak on financial planning, the importance of financial planning and its awareness among the students right from their student days. As you know, as students, you will have limited funds available with you. You need to know how to budget the limited funds that you have, which may be coming either as a scholarship or you might have taken a loan of your education. So you need to be aware how to budget your funds that you have for your tuition fees, for purchase, to make sure that you do not overspend the limited. Ensure that you are aware of how to repay, how to save your money, and how to invest your money, knowing the difference between saving and investment. And how do I set aside some amount of funds in case of an emergency that may arise? There are many such things that one needs. Today we have Shri on the Financial Planning Standards Board. He will speak to us on the importance of financial planning, and as educational institutions, workshops, seminars, and educate our students about the importance of financial planning. And this can act as a foundation for our students once they pass out of the institutions, when they take up different professions. It will help them in their future too, how to make their future secure and stable through proper financial planning. So I would like to invite Shri Mishra to make his presentation. After his presentation, if time permits, we will also take some questions from the audience. So over to Shri Mishra.
It's a honor for me to be here, and thank you so much, Kumar sir, for setting the context and the theme for today's discussion. I would not call it a lecture because I'm not a teacher, but yes, I will talk about a very, very important life skill which is needed for all of us. Before I start my presentation, I would like to give you certain pointers here that this is, again, not a lecture, but a discussion which we will be having, and more to do with post my presentation. I will also be talking to you about how it can help you in terms of your own life and about your educational institutions too. So I'll be covering all these three areas during my presentation, and then obviously we'll have an open opportunity to ask each other questions, and I can answer to those questions. So let me just present my screen and just confirm me once you're able to see my screen. Hope this is visible to everyone.
Yes, it is visible.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for the confirmation. So I think very, very close to my heart, because this is what I do day in, day out for my students as well as for the people who would like to take the help of the people who are in this profession. Talking about financial planning, I just wanted to share something with you that financial planning is not about money management or investments alone. It is practically about managing our lives and our life goals. Because what happens is your life goal and your friend's life goal would be different. Maybe your wife's life goal is different, your son's life goal is different, and it has to be customized with the life goal of each and every individual who gets into their careers or whatever they do in their lives. Now, practically, the financial planning domain is very, very crucial for us when we are in the educational institutions or wherever we are. Because most of the time, what happens is in the process of making the careers of people, we actually forget about ourselves. And this is really very important, that how do we actually manage our own funds and the crucial situations which come in front of us while we are in the institution. As Jagadesh Kumar sir rightly mentioned, the resource allocation plays a major role. Resources are limited and they will always remain limited. And it is really very important for us to efficiently use them. And then practically align them with the budgets and go ahead and look at how we have been able to do in terms of our performances. So practically today, we are going to discuss about these important areas during the next 30 to 35 minutes. As sir rightly mentioned, budgeting for a role in the lives of people. I'll tell you something very important, that most of the people who get into the markets, whether buying an insurance plan for themselves or looking at buying a mutual funds, most of the times they buy it from people who have actually never invested themselves. And I'll tell you a very interesting fact that most of the people who are there in the field of advice might not be the right qualified people to give you that advice. It might come from your uncle, your brother, your sister, your son, your daughter, right? Anyone and everyone who's standing in front of you can come and give you advice. And my advice would be that don't listen to them, because it is more about your hard-earned money that you have been able to cater to after so many years of hard work. So it is really very important for you to understand that why we should go ahead and budget. Budgeting, as you know that, and I think all of you are teachers, I'm sure you might be teaching your students that practically how to go ahead and budget. Budget is very, very simple exercise, which actually talks about how do you allocate funds, right? And look at the income and expense report for yourself or your organization, right? So that's really very important. You also forecast. It is said that whatever we have, right, past is gone. Whatever we have is present only, because future is something which nobody has seen. But what is really very important is that we plan for that future. If we enter into the future without planning, it would be really very difficult for any one of us to survive. It is said that in FPSB also we say that live your today and plan your tomorrow. So if you plan your tomorrow well, if you're able to forecast your tomorrow well, you would be able to lead a better life. And this is what we have seen in various researches that we have done in the past so many years. And in those researches, we have found that most of the people who planned for their finances and their lives, they have been able to cater to their lives better and manage their lives better. And financial management, as I told you, it's a very, very crucial aspect. Today, if you have got a very good idea for your own institution, you will not be able to implement that idea till the time you do not have the right financial resources to manage the same. Now, talking about the life goals, and I'll talk about a life goal of an individual. So, for example, your student who is pursuing graduation at your university, later on, this student moves to post-graduation. And before that, if you look at his initial life or her life, right, you will find that when a child is born, it's a very, very important and a very positive occasion for the families. Everybody celebrates, right? And that celebration is negated by one fact that you need to actually go ahead and spend money, pay to the hospital, because there's a maternity expense which is involved. And the child goes to a school, very, very happy. What happens is you have to pay a good amount of fee to the school. And then further for higher education, you know that university education and post-graduation, in case somebody is going for a good business school, etc., is pretty expensive nowadays. If you do not plan for them, you will face a lot of difficulty. And people take loans, people look at borrowing money from anywhere else, and then practically go ahead and repay the same when they complete the course and get into their careers. But what is really very important for us to understand is that whether there is a positive moment or a negative moment, finance is needed every time. And in fact, what happens is after that, this boy or a girl who has got into the career gets married, and then there is another child born, the cycle continues. That's what life is all about. Life is a never-ending process. It keeps on happening at every moment. Now, interestingly, These moments, when I mentioned were positive and negative, these can be impacted by various other things in life, which can be in the form of some bereavement in the family, somebody getting hospitalized, somebody might be getting some inheritance from their grandfather or anyone. And then practically you do not know what to do in those occasions. So it is said that in case you do not have any money, you need financial planning. If you have got more money, then also you need financial planning, right? At both the ends. And in fact, people who are in between also need financial planning to navigate their lives better. As I said, your goals keep on moving. So this boy who has actually completed an MBA or a graduation gets into the career. And then what happens is he or she thinks about starting something by, say, 27, 28. And the starting point would be for them, say, buying a car. Now, most of us, we feel that a car is an asset, but practically a car is a liability. And that's the way in which it is being looked at in the form of finances. And interestingly, what we have seen is that this boy thinks that, okay, by the time I touch 28, I would be able to buy this car. But by the time he or she touches 27, this boy has to go ahead and get married because there's a family pressure. And this goal moves from 28 to, say, 32. By the time he touches 31, he has got a kid in family. Now he's thinking about the child education. And then the child grows because retirement comes very fast. And most of the times people feel that, oh, retirement, then my life is over. But practically retirement, my friends, is not the end of the road. It's actually the start of the next innings for us, the second innings in life. And practically most of the people who are not able to plan for their retirements better, they face a very difficult time. So you've seen that people who plan for it well, they are able to do it better. So as I said, financial planning is not about managing money alone. It is about managing your life and your life goals. We, in financial planning, actually help you in terms of understanding how these life goals are created. And that's what I'm going to do today during this discussion. Now, look at the short-term and long-term goals in life. Now, the short-term goals are normally for a period of 1 to 3 years. And then you have, in case you're looking at the long-term goals, these are beyond the period of 3 years. You need to know very clearly about how to be successful in terms of achieving these goals. And you need to keep on relooking at your goals and their performances because these goals are ever evolving. Your goal will never remain similar in life, right? At each and every stage in life, your goal will keep on evolving. And that's why you need to have a very, very strong set of goals who can actually provide you the right financial stability. Now, your short-term goal can be very simple. It can be like paying off your credit card debt or maybe a personal loan that you have taken so that you are able to ensure that you have the right cash flows, building an emergency fund. One interesting fact, my friends, that COVID has actually taught us the importance of emergency fund like anything. I have seen a lot of doctors pursuing and becoming financial planners because they felt that their patients are not able to manage their funds well. They are actually going through a difficult time and they do not have the emergency fund. I can tell you that if you look at the current situation in our country or anywhere in the world, if somebody is working, there is no job guarantee. If you are managing an enterprise or you have started your own enterprise, you do not know whether that enterprise would be successful or not. But what you should know is that in case anything goes wrong, do you have the sufficient amount of money, emergency fund to handle those difficult situations? I've seen cases wherein people actually think that I'm getting insured for health insurance by my organization, and people leave jobs, and when they are in between the jobs, they get hospitalized. And in case they have not purchased their own health insurance policy, they face a very difficult time in terms of managing those difficult situations. So you need to actually plan for the emergency fund and accordingly work towards it. You also need to save for a vacation or buying a jewelry, and we have seen a lot of people doing that. A lot of people do it abruptly. They face a difficult time. People who plan it, they're able to manage it better. And obviously, through this process, you are able to bring in a financial discipline in yourself. You're able to gain some money through some quick wins, and you're able to reduce the financial stress. Talking about financial stress, and this is really very important, whether for the students or for anyone, what we have seen is that 70% of the suicidal cases which happen in our country are because of this financial stress. In fact, the divorce cases have also happened because of the financial stress. If we plan for it well, we would be able to take care of such difficult situations really well. And short-term goals obviously hamper our life because sometimes if you have not defined them properly, you get into a very difficult situation and then practically you lose out on whatever you have saved till date. So remember that it is really very important for us to plan for these short-term goals and accordingly navigate them. Now look at the long-term goals, and this is really very important. Whether in short-term or long-term, one thing that we need to remember is that instead of getting into an unplanned, right, expense towards repair, it is better for us to look forward to a preventive measure or a preventive maintenance. So in case you have got an AC at home, it's better to get a preventive repair, I would say maintenance get done instead of looking at a expense later on, because most of the times expenses towards the repair are more than the maintenance fee that we need to pay. And the same goes for anyone, whether it is related to our health or life. Wellness is better than illness, my friends. And it is really very important for us to focus on wellness, not on illness, right? And we have seen cases wherein people who do not preventive measures, they face a very difficult time in terms of management. Again, it is really very important for us to budget, look at investments, and look at the debt repayment and emergency funds continuously and consistently. So this is important. If you look at short-term goals planning, obviously you have to have the right goals in front of you. You can set them, specify them, and measure them. Now, if your goals are not specific or measurable, you will be in a very difficult situation. So it's better for you to have a specific goal and measure those goals. Create a plan and track progress. If you do not track progress, then again, it becomes really, very tough, and adjust as and when you need. So these are the steps towards achieving your short-term goals. And it's a very, very simple step. Most of the times we do it really well for our organizations and whatever activities we do for our universities or institutions. But when it comes to our own personal finances, we do not do this. So my request to all of you would be that please do it. If you are able to identify your short-term goals, keep specific and measurable goals, and create a plan towards it. Always go ahead and review and track progress, and then adjust as needed. Once you are able to do it, you will not face any difficulty in the short term. If you look at the long-term goals, we know that long-term goals are pretty important for us because these are above the 3 years time period. One important fact that in case you're looking at any kind of investment, my friends, do not invest just for short term. Being invested for a long time will give you the power of compounding, and it can actually help you grow your funds really well. Right? So it is really very important for us to plan towards financial independence. And when we plan towards financial independence, being invested for a long-term period is really very important for all of us. So obviously, long-term goals can be retirement savings, buying a home. It can be about your child education, your own financial independence, and accumulation of wealth. Now, accumulation of wealth is something which everybody needs to do, right? And it is really very important because ultimately, if you have to lead your life beyond your working sphere, then you need to have the right wealth to take care of you in the future. So wealth is definitely related to your retirement savings and the financial independence. And again, home purchase and child education, that's a part of our life. We have to have this financial goal, and we should be able to achieve these goals. Again, there are very simple steps towards achieving these goals. One, you need to have the realistic goals. You should know exactly what you need to do. Again, I am telling you one more fact that, as I mentioned previously also, that your plan and your goals would be very, very different from the goals of the person sitting next to you. So it's really very important for you to have your own individual goals rather than looking at anybody else's goal, right? So it is really very important to have the realistic goals in front of us. You should develop a savings plan. One important thing that most of the times we feel that if the money is in the bank, it is safe, it is taken care of. But practically, if your money is in the bank or cash at home, then it is of no use to you because of the time value of money and the inflation which is there in the market. You practically end up losing on what you have saved for. So it is really very important for you to go ahead and automate your savings contribution towards investments, towards insurances, towards any other activity, which will help you in terms of growing your money. Invest wisely, because when you invest wisely, you are able to gain wisely, right? Somebody might come to you and say that, okay, more the risk, more the gain is. Please do not believe that person. It is about the calculated risk. Take a calculated risk, you will have the right potential returns. But in case you are not taking a calculated risk, you are going to face a difficult situation there too. The markets cannot be predicted by anyone. If you look at the stock markets, etc., there is no Jyotishi in this world who can actually come out and say that, okay, this will happen. This is the way in which your money will grow. In fact, This is the only industry when it comes to stock markets, right? Past trends will not give you the reality check for the future. So don't look at the past numbers in case people have told you that, okay, I made 100% return or I got 150% return. His life was better, the timing was better, he could make that money. But in case you're looking at starting at a particular point, do not believe on that person. Plan yourself and do your own due diligence. It is really very important, right? You might see a lot of people coming to you and telling you that, okay, invest in this fund, you'll make more money. Invest in this fund, you will make 40% return. Right? Invest in this fund, you will get money within 6 months. Don't trust them. Don't believe them straight away. Right? Do your own due diligence. And the first part of due diligence is that never, ever get into the process of, I would say, the trap of getting into these kind of lucrative offers. You have to stay away from such lucrative offers. Whenever you are looking at investing, look at the legality of the product or the service you're getting into. In case if somebody is coming to you with an offer, look at the legality of that product. If that product is not legal, that product is not regulated, that product does not seem to be authentic to you, stay away from that, right? Stay away from people who can come and tell you that, okay, I'm the right person for you. Ask for the credentials. Ask questions that, okay, are you actually certified? Do you have the right professional qualification with you? Are you registered with the regulators? Do you have the right licenses in place for you? Because it is about your hard-earned money. Just to quote an example, in case you're going for a vacation, right? So say, for example, in a hill station, you try to check on which are the better hotels, what is the right price point for the hotels, in what month I should be going there, what is the time period when the rains happen. If I go to, say, for example, Shimla, will I get stuck in case of some kind of a heavy rain there and heavy showers, and there is a road blockage, etc. So you check on all those areas. In case a student has to come and join your college, the student will do all kind of due diligence before getting into the college. The student will check on the quality of the faculties, the infra that you provide, the kind of placements that you give, the way in which you are teaching the curriculum, right? All those things are being checked by the student. And the fee, finally, he looks at the fee and decides that whether this institution is good for me or not. Now, you do so much amount of due diligence for your vacation, for your admission, but you do not do anything for your investments. And this is what happens with majority of the people in our country. I can tell you an interesting fact, my friends. I'm adding this point here, that people say that, okay, it is about financial literacy. In my view, it is more about financial education. We might be educated, and I'm making a very bold statement in front of the educators of our country, that we might be educated, we are not financially educated. And why we are not financially educated is because most of it has not been taught to us in our education curriculums. Please don't mind me. Financial planning is not being taught to us. In fact, most of the things that are being taught in the commerce curriculum, as well as in the MBA curriculum, are related to the corporate finance, not related to personal finance. And interestingly, I've seen a lot of cases wherein there are people who are CEOs, CFOs, CHROs, or maybe the senior leaders within the organizations. When it comes to managing the organization's P&L, they do it really well. But when it comes to their own P&L, they must be struggling. So it is really very important for us to mitigate these risks and invest wisely in the market and regularly review all the goals that we have defined. Because as I said, your goals are ever evolving. They are not constant, and they will never remain constant for anyone. And obviously, you need to balance between short-term and long-term, maximize your resources, whatever resources you have, and look at immediate and future resources, right? So sometimes, and this is what we do for our people also when we plan for people, look at doing it for your own finances, right? Short-term focus, immediate financial health, long-term focus, ensuring future financial security and independence in life. There are a lot of people who say that if I get independent by the time I touch, say 40 or 50, I would like to come out and obviously live a good retired life. But as I mentioned to you, that it is about the second innings that we need to play beyond that, because our lives, I would say the life span for an individual in our country has actually gone up thanks to the medical technology in our country, which has evolved over a period of time. And practically, it has actually helped us in terms of looking at an average age of around 73 for an Indian, right? Though we are the youngest society in the world with an average age of 28.2, and we are moving towards the other side very soon. But yes, we have a good number of years to look forward to creating a potentially financially sustainable new Bharat for the Viksit Bharat 2047. these efforts, these activities that you're going to do will actually help you in terms of creating a financially sustainable Bharat. Because I was looking at certain goals which are there with the government, with the economy, that, okay, we would like to become a sustainable economy. We would like to follow the sustainable development goals. But for those goals, we have to ensure that the short-term goals and long-term goals are being balanced for each and every individual of this country, including you yourself, right? So each and every individual, if they are able to manage their finances well and they are able to define their goals well and achieve those goals well, which means that the family will achieve the goals. And if the family achieves the goal, society automatically achieves the goal. And if the society is achieving the goal, the economy of the country, which is our Bharat, will automatically achieve all the goals. All the efforts are towards doing that only. Time has come, instead of a top-down approach, we will be looking at a bottoms-up approach for this country. Right? Some challenges, people always talk about it, that I do not have time, and I'm very much exhausted with whatever I have. I'll tell you one important fact, that it is practically lack of discipline. Time is every time there. It is about prioritizing. If you're able to prioritize and you're looking and able to look at savings and spending habits, you'll be able to manage it well. Why these challenges are coming, and I'll tell you an important fact, that if you look at our parents, their parents, etc., grandparents, etc., you'll see that people who were living in the era of 70s and 80s, they used to earn salaries in hundreds. Then the time came wherein we got into 80s, practically, when we started talking about 1,000 rupees, 1,500 rupees, 2,000 rupees as salaries. And then we got into 90s, wherein people started talking about 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees as salaries. And look at 2000 onwards. What has happened is that we talk about CTCs in lakhs, and 2024 onwards, we have seen a lot of people talking about the CTCs in crores. And what has happened is, apparently, I would say the disposable income has actually gone up for everyone. And if we do not plan for it, we do not get into the discipline, we will face the difficult times. So it is important for us to get into the discipline, look at the unexpected expenses, which might come anytime. So emergency fund plays a major role there, and the market fluctuations. In case you are worried about the market fluctuations, always think about a SIP, a systematic investment plan, which can give you the power of compounding in the long run. I have seen cases wherein people invested some money, a small amount of money, 15, 20 years back, and forgot. That amount has grown and become a very good substantial amount today. I can tell you that I invested in a mutual fund of 5,000 rupees because of the pressure of my own friend. I forgot that fund, and when I was looking at my cash statement recently, that 5,000 rupees had become 1.54 lakhs. Then I started thinking that if I would have invested for, say, those 15, 16 years continuously, I might have created a good corpus of above a crore for myself through that money. So it is really very important for us to look at those things. And in case you feel that there are challenges, always remember that these challenges are the opportunities for us to improve and look forward to a better future. So as I mentioned to you, it is about setting the goals clearly, creating a plan, balancing the need, and monitoring the process. It's a very, very simple process, and we do it. We do it for our organizations, we do it for our students, we do it for whatever activities we do day in, day out, but we do not do it for our own selves. And one request to all of you, when the finance minister prepares the budget for the country on 1st of February, my request to all of you would be that please sit down and prepare your own budget for the year. If you're able to do it, you will not face much of a difficulty, and rest of the things will automatically follow for you. I will also talk about your institution's financial management for some time. It is really very important, because nowadays in the educational institutions, we have got various hurdles, which are again opportunities. Practically, there is limited amount of funding, enrollments are not increasing, and sometimes you have got unexpected expenses for your institutions too. This similar formula will apply there. You can actually go ahead and plan for your finances for the institution too. Whatever you learn today, or whatever you learn about finances from anyone ever in your life, please go ahead and share. Use them for your benefit, as well as share it with people, because we need to make this Bharat, our own Bharat, financially literate and financially educated for the Viksit Bharat 2047. Because that's our Prime Minister's agenda. I think Jagadesh Kumar sir has been always advocating about ensuring that we are able to make people learn about newer skills. And this is practically a life skill. If in case you can spread this message and create opportunities for people to learn and grow and take the right decisions for their own finances, you will be able to make a stronger Bharat for tomorrow. It is also about adaptability to financial planning. As I said to you, that this is an area which has always been neglected. We normally do not talk about investments. We do not talk about our insurance, about retirement, about our estate planning, our own risks, which are impacting us with our families, with our kids. I'll quote a very simple example and a very, I would say, this is a very life-changing example, which I could see from my own eyes. One earning member of the family, he actually fell sick and he was hospitalized because of the heart problem. This man never told his wife that he has got a health insurance policy at home, kept at home. The wife was not aware. She actually went ahead and sold all her jewelry, whatever savings she had, everything, and she, in fact, borrowed money to pay for the hospital expenses. Next day, when the husband wakes up, he asked the wife that, okay, you took care of the expenses, but from where? She said that I had to borrow, I had to sell my jewelry, and then obviously whatever savings I had, I have given it to the hospital. Then the man says that, oh, you did not check the Almira, I had kept my health insurance policy there. Wife said that you never told me this. See, it is really very important for you to discuss these things with your wife, your kids. In case if you can make it a dinner table discussion or a lunch table discussion, that would be really important. Talk about your finances. Do not worry. Nobody will take away what you have earned. It is really very important for you to discuss and inform families. I can tell you that there is a very large set of corpus which is kept with the banks and the insurance companies and the mutual fund companies, which is unclaimed money. Okay, the amount is more than 42,700 crores, 42,700,000 crores, right? And then it's such a large amount of money which has not been claimed because nobody informed the family that they have got these kind of investments or these kind of insurances in place. Okay, so in case you are able to manage these insurances, get them for your family, did the right type of investments, talk about these things with your family. In case you have got a health card, my request for you would be that when you carry your driving license or a PAN card or an Aadhaar card, please carry your health card in your wallets. Nobody can stop you from claiming in case your health card is there with you. Say there is an emergency, somebody has met with an accident or anything. At least that health card will help you in terms of claiming that money from the insurance company. In case you have got investments in mutual funds, in stock markets, wherever it is, tell your family, inform them, right? Adapt to financial planning, make it a part of your life. I can tell you that it is practically a need, like water, right? And I always quote this example that when I'm thirsty, I've got a need that I would like to have water. But what I do is that I get into a shop and see a refrigerator. So my need becomes a want, and I want for cold water. But as in when I reach the refrigerator and I see the refrigerator from my eyes, what I see there is that there is a bottle of Thumbs Up being kept. And yesterday I had seen an advertisement by Shah Rukh Khan saying that if you drink Thumbs Up, you'll be a macho man. So I go ahead and pick up the bottle of Thumbs Up and come out. Practically that Thumbs Up is a demand. For me, water is the need. And for you and for all of us, financial planning is the need like water only. So it is really very important for us to adapt to financial planning. We need to look at continuous improvement in whatever strategies we make and use the new tools. AI is here for our help only. And remember that AI can give you the right data or the information. Ultimately, the decision-making would remain with you, right? With us, the human mind can never be replaced by AI. And AI is there in the advisory also now. AI is there in investments also now. You might have seen a lot of wealth tech companies and short tech companies which have come and they have got these softwares or robots who can actually help you bring in all the data and information that you need. But when it comes to taking the right decision, those decisions are supposed to be taken by you. And always remember that don't do it yourself. DIY, people say that DIY or the do it yourself is a very good concept. Always remember that there are certain things you should not be doing it yourself. In case somebody has got a disease, right, they go to a doctor. In the similar way, if you feel that you've got the financial disease, and financial diseases can be of two types. One is like, for example, if somebody is waiting for their salaries every month post 10th, that's one kind of a disease, right? The other one can be that if you've got more money kept at home and at bank, but you're not able to grow that money. In fact, you're losing that money because of inflation. It is really very important for you to go ahead and talk to a doctor. And that doctor is a financial doctor. It's always a good idea to go to the financial doctors who are experts like the certified financial planner professionals that we have and the various other professionals who can actually give you the right guidance. Go to the right doctor, take the right advice, and navigate your life better. So that's really very important. So I would like to end my presentation here and open it for the discussions for all of us. Thank you so much for your patient listening. I'm not saying hearing because I feel that all of you have been listening to me. Jagadesh Kumar sir, over to you.
Right. Thank you, Mishra ji. Without using any technical jargon used in finance domain, when you see somebody who is highly productive, very efficient, people wonder how is this person able to manage the time? So I often tell you cannot manage time. Time is not in your control. It all depends on how you prioritize your tasks and how you budget your time on different life. And similarly, just as we focus on our physical fitness by spending time, by doing exercise, by eating proper food, by taking proper rest, and so on. In the financial planning also, as you have very nicely explained, there are different things that we need to look at to remain ourselves financially fit, just as we put every effort to remain physically and mentally fit. Being financially fit also is an important thing in everybody's life. Thank you very much for providing us the required information in simple language. So now we will take up the questions. I request my technical team to please unmute. If any electronic hand is raised, you please unmute them so that we can take up the questions. Meanwhile, sometimes people get into the habit of spending the money even before you earn it. And then they end up in these debt traps. Do you have any advice to our students and faculty in this?
Thank you so much for asking this question, sir. In fact, we have been a society which has always focused on earning money first and then worrying where to spend. And we have become a society today where we spend money first and then worry from when I will earn and repay. In fact, this happens with a lot of people. And it is really very important for us to immediately plan for the same. See, whenever we earn anything, right? So it is always said that first of all, we need to repay our debts. Small or large, that's not important. What is important is that first of all, we pay them and keep aside some money to take care of our savings. The formula is very simple. People say that it is 50, 30, 20, right? So yeah, so 50% you should invest and 30% you should obviously save, and 20% you can look at emergency fund. But then in case you have got debts, then possible. Please do not get into the trap of earning a salary before getting your actual salary. There are so many organizations which are ready to give you those kind of loans, wherein they will tell you that, okay, you can get a salary before earning your salary. If you get into that loop, it's very difficult for you to come out. Right? And we have seen so many cases wherein people get into that kind of a trap. So it is really very important that we start doing that from the early age itself. In fact, I have seen various cases, sir, wherein whatever spending we do through a credit card, say at the age of 23 or 22 after passing out our graduation or post-graduation, we actually take 20 precious years of our life to repay that money. 20 precious years because of the kind of internal rate of return and the interest rate which is being charged. Each credit card has around 36% rate of interest and around 72 to 73% of IRR. So you can imagine the kind of money that we are repaying. I've seen cases wherein people are not able to repay it before the age of 42, 43. Then when will you plan for your savings or your investments and your insurances and your retirement? The second thing is that it is really very important for us to, I would say, buying the asset activity delayed by a certain number of years. So instead of just buying the asset, and I've seen cases where, as in when you pass out from your college, okay, with your first job, you just go ahead and buy a house or just go ahead and buy a car. It is always important that do not do that at that stage. You might postpone that decision to say another 5 years or 7 years, create a corpus, and then go for such kind of investments. That's number two. In case we have delayed it, in case we have already spent money, okay, time for us to immediately prioritize and close it, and then start planning for our investments. If we have crossed the age of 40, 45, do not worry, we are not delayed. We might be 50, 55, whatever. Start now. Start investing now. You will not face any difficulty. You'll be able to create a good corpus. And I have seen cases wherein people started at the age of 60, and then by the time they were 65, 67, they became financially independent. So whatever age you are, it is about starting immediately without any further delays, I would say. So spending, worrying, and earning is not a good phenomenon. Practically, we need to go back to our grandparents and the way in which traditionally we have been working, wherein we used to earn money first. Debt for organization is always good. Personal debt is not really good, because for organization, it helps you in making your organization more efficient. But when it comes to your personal debt, it's always better to postpone it as much as we can. If there is no other option, you have to take it, but repay it and by prioritizing it as the first payment from your side.
Right, right. You also know that access to higher education is an important determinant in deciding how far our students will progress in their life, limit the opportunities to our students. And recently, Government of India has announced PM Vidya Lakshmi scheme, which is a collateral-free, guarantor-free loan scheme. And a student can avail the loan to meet the full cost of higher education. But however, this being a loan, the student has to repay it after they complete their degree program. So I would like to ask you about how to plan this repayment and do not turn not turn into a defaulter, because ethically also this money that the banks are giving is public money. And when we also becomes our responsibility to repay the loan. So could you say something about it, how to plan this repayment of loan so that I don't end up being a default?
Again, a very, very important question, sir. And I've seen cases wherein when you get into the... okay, somebody is here. So whenever we are looking at any kind of loans, and especially the education loan, that's part of creating a good life for us in the future. So it is really very important that we go ahead and take that and move ahead in our careers in terms of our education. However, when we start our career, from the first salary itself, it is about planning, right? Keeping some money aside for the repayment. When it comes to the education loans, if in case somebody wants to repay it early, it is always a good idea to keep a step up kind of a EMI option, wherein you start with a lower EMI initially because you need to have some savings also side by side for yourself, for emergency, etc. And then you keep on stepping up the same with the increase of your salary. Say, for example, first year, you are drawing a X salary, and next year, with say 10% increment, your salary becomes X plus 10%. So increase your EMI also by 10%. In this way, what happens is you will be able to repay the loan that you have taken. So in a shorter span of time rather than a longer span of time. So instead of say 10 years, you might repay that within 5 years, and then you can plan for the rest of the things. So as I said, it is really very important for us to plan to repay our debts before time, on time, and for that, we can create this kind of a formula or a discipline for ourselves. This discipline helps. And then what happens is, in case we get a bonus or we get an incentive, it is always better that we go ahead and repay the debt first from that bonus or incentive. Investment, so what happens is, if you're able to come out of this debt, say in the next 3 to 5 years time, then you can plan for the rest of the investments in a better way and a faster way. And it doesn't matter. I know that some people will feel that, okay, it might get delayed. But what is important is, it is always good for us to prioritize our debt first. This debt has been given through the public money by the government to support us, collateral-free. They are trusting us for this. So it is really very important. And I would say towards the nation building, our responsibility that we repay the same on time. Because obviously, in case we do not do it, the trust towards any other student might come down with that bank or the organization. So our steps will actually help the other people also get access to such funds in future. So stepping up with time is the key towards getting that financial discipline. Yeah.
So there is a question from the social media, and this student asking, if I take a firm either as a diploma or in some other form, and I become a certified financial planner, will that enhance my job opportunities?
Great. Again, this is related to my organization, the work that we do, sir. Thank you so much for asking this question. See, the financial planning as a field is a growing field. There are a good number of opportunities. In fact, as per the National Career Service Survey data, NCAS, Government of India, last year we created around 46.86 lakh jobs in the field of financial services, and practically only 27.5 lakh jobs were taken, which means that 18 lakh jobs went vacant. Why these jobs went vacant? Because people were not capable or able enough to pick up that job. I'm not saying that practical or professional education for them to take up that career. With this kind of a cause, we have got more jobs and less number of people to apply to those jobs. So the demand is always high and supply is less. And I know that this will remain the same with the kind of population that we have. We've got 1.45 billion plus population now. And the kind of requirement that our country has, there's a good career and a good career progression for the people to look forward to in this field. Definitely a field to look forward to. The best thing with this field is, like your profession, being a teacher is a noble profession. In the similar way, a financial planner's profession is also a very noble profession, wherein they are helping people and helping their lives become better. And I think if somebody chooses this as a profession, they'll be able to educate people at large and make their lives better for the future. Yeah.
Right. Shri Anand Kumar, could you please unmute yourself?
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
आप दोनों महानुभावों से, आपसे चेयरमैन सर, आपसे मैंने BHU में मुलाकात की थी और कृष्ण मेरे गुरु हैं, क्योंकि उनके थ्रू मैंने CFP की है। तो बहुत ही अच्छा लगा, ये बहुत अच्छा डिस्कशन था, बहुत ही फ्रूटफुल था। तो बेसिकली मैं जियो साइंटिस्ट होने के बाद में ये फाइनेंस कर रहा हूँ। तो मैं 2-3 चीज़ें ऐड करना चाहता हूँ जो आपने बोली थी कि आज के ज़माने में मदर फादर, आपके पेरेंट्स आपके इमरजेंसी फंड नहीं हो सकते, और पेरेंट्स के लिए मैं लाइन बोलता हूं कि आपके बच्चे आपका रिटायरमेंट फंड नहीं हो सकते। ये बहुत ही क्लियर है आज के समय में। दूसरी बात, अगर आपको लोन लेना है, आप एजुकेशन लोन ले सकते हैं, बट ये ध्यान रखिए कि रिटायरमेंट का कोई लोन नहीं होता। तो रिटायरमेंट प्लानिंग डेफिनेटली बहुत जरूरी है आपके लिए। और आपने अभी चेयरमैन सर बोला कि इसको पेमेंट कैसे किया जाता है, तो मुझे इसमें, चूंकि मैं लगभग काफ़ी देशों में काम कर चुका हूँ, मुझे इसमें अमेरिका का मॉडल अच्छा लगता है कि बच्चे अपने ऊपर सेल्फ सस्टेन्ड हो जाते हैं, और ऐसा नहीं कि उसके पिताजी रिटायरमेंट के बाद भी उनको पैसे देते रहें। तो ये हमारा मॉडल अपने यहाँ आना है, और मैं उसमें आपकी बहुत बड़ी भूमिका देख रहा हूँ चेयरमैन सर, कि अगर हम बचपन से ही बच्चों को इंट्रोड्यूस कर दें पर्सनल फाइनेंस का, जैसे हमारी माँ और हमारे पिताजी वगैरह हमको पढ़ाए थे। तो मैंने कभी भी, उस समय मुझे याद नहीं है आपका 1980s में या उस समय के पहले, नेशनल स्कॉलरशिप हुआ करती थी भारत सरकार की, 15 रुपए से शुरू करके 50 रुपए और 2000 तक जाती थी। तो मैं उससे लेके बड़ा और पढ़ा हूँ। तो मैं अपने जो नए बच्चे हैं उनको यही बोलूंगा कि मेहनत करो, पैसे कमाओ, ये उधार तुम्हारी लायबिलिटी है, तुम्हारे माँ बाप ने तुम्हें मदद की है, अब तुम
बहुत बढ़िया आनंद जी।
थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you for your kind words. Yeah.
Right. There is another question. Although our population is about 1.45 billion, only 5% of Indians are actually insured. So could you tell something about the importance of getting insured?
So again, a very, very important topic. In fact, I spent some very good number of years in the insurance industry before coming to education. So what we say is that, see, most of the times people actually took insurance as an investment product. That was one fact which came because we were giving some tax benefits to people. In the old regime, still those tax benefits remain. And people always thought that if I'm buying insurance, it is for me to get the tax benefit. It's like you taking a motor insurance to stay away from the traffic police guy rather than securing your risk, right? So practically insurance is for securing the risk, not for staying away from the traffic police guy. And what we say is that this is important for people to be included financially, part of financial inclusion. In fact, I'll tell you that there have been so many such good steps with which the government has also taken in terms of bringing insurances through the various bank accounts. So a lot of people are not aware that our savings account are also protecting us. So the first thing is that we open an account with the bank, and under the savings account, we can be covered for a life insurance. There are two types of insurances. We need to know the difference between them. One is accident insurance, second is life insurance. Right? A lot of people feel that if I'm covered for accident, I'm covered for life also. No, it is not the reality. When I'm covered for life, then only I'm covered for accident also. Right? And most of the times, organizations also make this mistake of insuring people only for personal accident, not for life insurance. That's another area. Apparently, after COVID, health insurance has started gaining a lot of popularity in our country. In fact, people have started buying health insurance on a regular basis. People like Anandji, who has been a geoscientist, right? We see a lot of doctors becoming certified financial planner professionals and getting into our qualification to help their patients. But then what has happened is there's a lot of room for improvement. We have taken the first steps. The government could get so many bank accounts opened under the Jan Dhan Yojana, which has been really fantastic, which has been the first step towards getting them into the financial fold. The Kisan credit cards, which are being offered to the farmers at large across the geographies, is another way of ensuring them, as well as their farm produce and the tractors they have, etc., through the farmers package insurance coverage and the health insurance again. So what has happened is I would say the insurance industry has been putting a lot of effort in the last, I would say, 20-25 years. Insurance industry has tried to grow, but the growth has been actually more for the population that we have. Our population has grown more than the growth which this industry could bring in. But then I'm not saying that there are not many significant steps. The steps are very significant. And a lot of people always said that, okay, our investments to the people ratio is much more lower. Our insurance to people ratio is much more lower. Our GDP is lower. No, our GDP is very large right now, right? Only thing is because the denominator is also growing very fast. Right, we might have taken those steps, which are very, very significant. I could see that, and my understanding is that next 10 to 15 years is the year for India. You'll see growth in investments, you'll see growth in insurance, you'll see growth in various other parameters which are related to financial services. People have already woken up. That's the best part. Second is that now with the efforts that we are trying to put in by making people educated, because people never understood that what they are getting into. Like, for example, I might not be the right person to buy, say, for example, a ULIP product. Why should I buy it? Right? Maybe I need to just take a term plan and invest money through SIP or through stocks for the growth of my fund. I was not aware. Right? I purchased insurance 3 years later, I came out of it. Forgot that I need to repay also. I need to pay my premiums further. And people never took it seriously. Because obviously of various reasons, because it was given to them forcefully through the tax method. A lot of people might beat me and say that, okay, why are you saying this? But I'm just telling you that there should not be any tax benefit on insurance. It should be taken for covering our risk. And if we take it as a risk coverage, then we will be able to secure as many people as we can. Our step by talking to all the educationalists today will help at least get the educational institutions fully covered. I am concerned, sir. I met one of my professors who teaches at one of the topmost business schools in the country. She and her husband were not covered by their institution. This is a very tragic moment wherein she lost her husband and there was no health insurance product with them. Now, what I feel is that the first step has to come from the educational institutions, wherein all the educationists should come together, make themselves insured, make their students insured. And if this happens, then these students who are the future of this country will ensure that rest of the families and everyone in future.
So in your answer, you used one very important word, and I want you to expand on that. You mentioned a word called SIP. I remember when I was a student in early 1980s, I put aside a little amount of money from my scholarship, and after a few months, maybe for about 100 rupees or so, I bought a second-hand bicycle from an outgoing student, and I used that cycle for almost 8 years as a student, up to my PhD, up to completion of my PhD. And that was my first SIP, systematic investment plan that I follow. Please tell us what is the important that they need to accumulate some amount and then invest. They often don't realize the importance of putting aside little amount over a period of time and seeing the benefits of compounding over a period of time. So please tell us about it.
Very, very important question, sir. And I would like to thank you for talking about your own early life. In fact, we have also gone through the similar kind of a life initially. I also studied through a scholarship by Indian Army, which helped me do whatever I could in my life. But then, yes, when we look at systematic investment plans, this actually gives you an opportunity to balance your future earnings. It's a very simple process. So, for example, if I accumulate a lot of fund today and invest in the market, it will come on a particular net asset value, the value of that asset, right? So it will be multiplied by that, and accordingly, I'll be given the number of NAVs. Now, what happens is when it is systematically done every month, so for example, I have got 50,000 rupees. I do it today and forget. Next year, I put that money. I will not get the benefit of that balancing of the NAVs throughout the year. So because the markets are fluctuating every day. In fact, every hour, every minute, every second, right? So whatever money I put today, right? 3 days later, market might be above the NAV, market might be below the NAV, right? And like this, continuously, when I do it on a monthly basis or a fortnightly basis or a quarterly basis, if it is monthly, that's the best way to invest in SIPs, right? Whenever your salary comes, you can set aside some amount. That amount will keep on adding to your kitty, right? And you will get the NAVs of that particular day. So these fluctuations, normally ups and downs, we say, right? It's a zigzag kind of a motion, up and down, up and down. With SIP, we can balance it. We can draw a balanced line in between. So we actually stay away from the market risk of going up or coming down, and we get the balanced returns also. That's the best part of it. Whether we invest into equity or debt, both the sides, we get the right kind of returns. Only challenge remains with the balanced fund. I normally do not suggest people to invest in balanced funds, though balanced funds look good. They actually take away the benefits of both the sides. So it's better if we have got a growth mindset or ability to take some kind of a risk, we can go for equity. If we don't want to take any risk, we should go for debt funds. But remember one thing, that never take SIP for a short duration or a short-term benefit. Look at SIP as a long-term benefit, right? Look for SIP for 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. You will accumulate such a good corpus that your retirement life would be taken care of. You will, as rightly mentioned by Anandji, you will not be dependent on your child or your kid to take care of you post your retirement.
Also, many of us may not know the difference between a debt fund and equity fund. Please tell us the difference, and then why one of them is more risky as compared to the other one, and what should be the ratio of our investment in equity fund and debt fund?
So again, a very, very important question, sir. See, equity fund is like we are investing and becoming the shareholder of an organization. So the organization has got a total corpus, right, of say 100 rupees. There are various people who will invest into it, right? 1 rupee, 5 rupee, 10 rupee, and we are actually like a loan given to the market, to someone, right? So when we give a loan to someone, obviously that person needs to repay that. Now, when we look at a loan kind of a thing, which is debt, will have a limited interest return, right? So it would be fixed like 8%, 9%, 10% kind of. On the other hand, equity can have higher returns also, because depending on the performance of the organization, you can make more money. So if the organization or a particular fund is doing better, right, you make more money there, 30%, 40% also, sometimes 25%, 20%. But overall, if we look at investing in these kind of funds, we get a very good accumulated return over a period of time through the power of compounding, because compounding plays a major role in the long-term investments. Whether debt or equity, depending on our risk appetite. If I do not want to take any risk, I will move towards the debt fund. If I want to take the risk, I go to the equity fund. Now, somebody said that, okay, if my age is 100, right? My living age is 100 and my current age is say 60, right? I should not be investing more than 40% of my funds in equity, right? This is just a simple formula, depending on the number of years left. This is what people say. But then I have seen cases wherein somebody at the age of 75 invested all her money, right, in equity, and within 2 to 3 years' time, she doubled it, right? So, right. So, practically, it is not dependent on age. Age is just a number. It is dependent on our own risk appetite, right? What is my appetite? If I can take more risk, I can do that. If I cannot take risk, I'll go for debt funds. That's very, very simple, right? So don't look at any formula. People will give you so many formulas, but reality is focus on the risk appetite and do it. And in case you do not have the risk appetite, you might not be meant for the market, don't invest in the market, go for other investments, right? You have got gold, which has been growing very fast. In fact, gold has given 19% of CAGR, the compounded average growth rate, in the last 10 years, right? So gold is growing very fast. You can look at investing in physical gold or maybe the ETFs which are available. There are various other options. It's not necessary for us to go to the market only. So, and I'm telling you, sir, not everybody is meant for the market. And that's why a financial plan plays a major role, wherein you define what you need in your life. Like what?
There is a hand raised there, Mata Gujri University. Could you please unmute yourself?
Thank you, sir. Well, one is a simple thing. When you balance the whole thing, whatever investment you're making, for a person who is not well versed in these financial matters, would it not be a safe thing to divide it into the debt and equity, particularly those who are elderly, so that you are not left high and dry? Because at the end of the day, although it may be a very rosy picture that is being painted, the fact is, in the fine print, it is always written one important thing, which very few people care to read about, is that previous audited reports are no forecast for what this particular fund, as by and large, people do not read this. As a medical professional, I can say, not have the time or the inclination to read this fine detail. And there are very few financial experts or analysts who would be explaining all this. They have their target also to meet, if I'm not wrong. So obviously, in this broad platform, I think there are people, there are students, teachers, all categories of people who are not financial experts. So for them, a balancing the advantage, disadvantage, and how to place something where obviously, say, our parents, grandparents, they would have been investing in fixed deposit and they were assured. If they had a pension, fair enough, common service, that has been always there, or a pension, or the interest would have covered the inflation, which today, unfortunately, it is not. What is this SIP? Previously, we had the recurring deposit. But recurring deposit, the problem is it's a fixed rate. Whereas people are now forced to take risks. Fine, those who are doing well, it's all right, those institutions. But if it is not, it is a person who's going to suffer. Right. So I think this should be highlighted to one and all, that there are inherent risks in this SIP also. So how you do what your background, your particular asset level is, and then you invest accordingly. Thank you so much for your attention.
Also, Krishan, Krishan, there is one more thing to what Professor has said.
Sir.
The role of greed also in our financial planning. How we need to be careful about being, too greedy and taking too risky decisions and falling into difficulties. This also, if you could speak something on this.
As I mentioned during my presentation, that it is about doing our own due diligence. That's really very important for everyone. And the due diligence has got some steps. One is, the first, I would say, red flag is that if somebody is giving you a very lucrative offer, immediately your mind should give you a trigger that something is wrong with this, right? Second is, check about that product on the regulatory side and the legality of that product. Sometimes it is always good for us. See, we do so much amount of research for so many things, but we normally do not do any kind of research for our own investments. We just believe on anyone and everyone. The third thing, which is really important, is that the do-it-yourself phenomena needs to change to talking to an expert. talking to a certified financial planner professional, you will get all the details. See, Professor rightly mentioned that this person might have targets, right, or pressure. But then I can very proudly say that my CFP professionals, they will not carry this because they are financial planners. You might have seen that I have not spoken about a single product per se. We do not talk about products. Products are supposed to be sold by pharmacists in the medical terminology, right? So CFP professionals are not product sellers. They are the doctors. They will give you the right consultancy. If, for example, somebody has got fever, they will not say that, okay, go and buy a Crocin, because Crocin is a product. They'll say that, okay, go and take a paracetamol. So that's consultants. And that's the way in which our professionals will take care of people. They will help them define the goals, and they do not leave the hands of the people who join hands with them. They stay with them throughout their lives, because your life goals, as I said, are ever evolving. So due diligence plays a major role, sir. And I would say that people who suffer are the ones who do not do the due diligence. So that's really
having created so much of enthusiasm in our minds about proper financial planning. One last question. If any one of us want to use the services of a certified financial planner, is there a portal, or is there a way we can identify these financial planners? And then
we have got our website, sir, the FPSB.in, wherein all the information is available. We have got a directory of all our certified financial planner professionals. In fact, we have someone sitting here, Kumar himself. He is a geoscientist and a CFP professional both. So like this, sir, we have got Air Force officers, Army officers, naval officers, doctors, engineers. So people from various walks of life have got into this profession, and they're trying to help people at large, sir. It's about education, sir, and we are here for educating people and helping.
So you're saying if they can visit your portal and then find out about these certification programs.
Correct. And professionals also. So the list of professionals is also mentioned.
Great. Thank you very much for a wonderful discussion on financial planning. We look forward to seeing you again sometime in future as part of our Chetna series. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for inviting me, sir. It's been an honor to speak to all of you, and especially you, sir. It's an unforgettable memory for me going forward. Thank you. Namaskar.